All right, let's start with this thing many of us have heard, which is you don't need 12K. Yeah, you probably don't need 12K right now, just like we didn't need 4K 10 years ago, and before that, we didn't need HD. However, as time changes, resolutions increase, but more importantly, forget that it's 12K for a moment. Imagine someone, a reputable camera manufacturer that you actually know and trust, were to announce, we have an 8K camera coming out. It shoots 12-bit RAW and the same data rates as ProRes. It can do 4K, 240 frames a second. It can do 8K at 120 frames per second without cropping on a full frame sensor. Wouldn't that be a super cool camera? This could have been how they did the Ursa Mini 12K release, but they didn't, and it caused a lot of confusion. People said, oh, who needs 12K? Who needs 12K? You don't need 12K? No problem. We're going to shoot 8K full sensor. You don't need 8K? No problem. We're going to shoot 4K full sensor without cropping, still 12-bit RAW. That's the magic, pun intended, of this crazy 12K sensor, both the Super 35 version that came out in the Ursa Mini, as well as the full frame version in the Ursa Cine 12K, and now the Pyxis 12K. Now this camera body is easily my favorite of all time. And historically speaking, I actually used the Ursa Mini 4.6K G2 because it was my favorite image of any Blackmagic sensor. Now, I'm going to put this down for a second because I really don't need it this rigged up for the video today. So I'm going to bring this back a little more stripped down. If you guys want to see a real, true ultimate Pyxis rig build out, check out the channel. I have another video breaking down how to build out your Pyxis in a way that will really shine in every possible set scenario. Okay, much better. Now, the reason that this is still in a cage is because, let's be real, if you are working with a box style camera that's super configurable and super riggable, you're probably going to want to actually make use of that real estate with lots and lots of mounting points on all sides. This is the cage by Condor Blue. I highly recommend it. And honestly, if I could find a way to modify this cage so that it fits on an ARRI Alexa Mini, I would use this cage on that camera in a heartbeat. I genuinely think this is the best cage I have ever worked with. I highly recommend trying it out. I have another video where I mention 5 super critical tips on which pieces of equipment and accessories you should attach to your Pyxis. And now the first time that I worked with this sensor was in a remote location out in the desert, a sunset shoot for an upcoming sci-fi project, and we really put it through its paces. The 16 stops of dynamic range, you can really see and feel, and the full frame sensor looks so nice when you pair it with good full frame glass. One of the reasons that I love the 4.6K so much is because it was Blackmagic's highest dynamic range sensor. Not only was it a great slow-mo camera as long as you had enough light, you could do 4.6K in 120 frames a second without having to crop the sensor, but you also would have 15 full stops of dynamic range. So the 12K sensor is actually the first camera since then to have a higher stated dynamic range. 16 stops is absolutely crazy. And again, the fact that you can shoot in 8K or 4K sans cropping means that I actually have a camera that can now replace the 4.6K. Granted, if you are looking at the Pyxis 12K versus the Ursa Cine 12K, you only have the single SDI feed out and you don't have built-in neutral density filters. If that is a game breaker for you and you're willing to deal with the extra size and weight of the Ursa Cine, then perhaps that's the camera that you need. However, for me, I'm working with a lot of cinema lenses. I'm oftentimes using a matte box and diffusion, as well as Firecrest NDs to have a nice neutral equal exposure adjustment without any sort of color cast when it comes to adding neutral density filters. So I do wish it had the multiple video out so that I could send separate feeds, but I do have a little hack that lets you take a feed from the front USB-C port out to HDMI with a very specific cable. If you check out the other videos on the channel, you will find a Pyxis hacks video that shows you some really cool techniques to get more out of using your camera in a few ways that it wasn't exactly intended to be done in the first place. Now, aside from the built-in NDs and the multiple video outs, what exactly are you missing by getting the Pyxis 12K rather than the Ursa Cine 12K? You get twice the maximum frame rates on the Ursa Cine 12K as you do from the Pyxis 12K. And for those of you who are super number crunching nerds like me and love to shoot full sensor open gate 3.2 as often as possible, here is the difference. So in 3.2 open gate, the Pyxis 12K is limited to 40 frames per second at 12K. Now, this is a little bit frustrating because it would be nice to have 48 to give yourself a nice 50% slow-mo. However, a lot of commercial projects that I've shot and other DPs that I know have shot tend to stick around 36 frames per second. It gives you just enough room to slow things down or speed things up to make things match certain time frames and make the pacing flow just right without having too much of a change in the way it feels visually. At 8K and 4K, both, again, not cropping, you can get 72 frames per second. Now that is a slow motion factor of 1 to 3, so you can slow things down to 1/3 normal speed and still be shooting full sensor 4K or 8K. Now that's plenty for most narrative projects, and that's amazing. However, if you do want the full 8K 140 plus frames a second, that is something you're going to have to get the full-size Ursa Cine 12K to accomplish. With the Pyxis coming in at about 3.5 pounds, totally stripped down body only, and the Ursa Cine coming in around 8.7 pounds, there's a pretty substantial difference in the core weight, which really only matters to run and gun shooters. Once you have them both rigged out, a few pounds of difference on a 25 versus 30 pound rig isn't that huge a deal. You're already going to be working with much more substantial motion equipment, stabilization gear, tripod heads. So other than those of us who are actually trying to do vertical content at the same time as horizontal content, why would you shoot 3.2 open gate? Well, another very important reason is anamorphics. 2x anamorphics are really hardcore, and you tend to have to crop your sensor to a 4:3 aspect ratio to get the full D-squeeze effect. However, you're losing sensor size, which is a little frustrating. And a 1.3x anamorphic can be a little underwhelming in terms of the artifacting and anamorphic effects that you're hoping to get. The cool thing about shooting on a 3:2 full frame aspect ratio sensor is that you can actually use the 1.5x anamorphics that are increasingly popular. The super beautiful Mercury 1.5x's by Atlas anamorphic look phenomenal on this sensor shooting full frame, no crop, open gate. So we now have the option of pairing our glass and our anamorphic D-squeeze to the aspect ratio and the sensor size that we're shooting. So it's really cool to see anamorphic glass entering a more prosumer space where those of us who invest in our own equipment, we're owner-operators, we run small businesses, can actually acquire this equipment and get some super cool effects for some cinematic narrative content that we're shooting. Okay, so addressing the post-production elephant in the room, let's talk about B-RAW. Every Blackmagic camera since, I believe, the Ursa Mini 12K, certainly since the full-frame 6K and beyond, all full-frame sensors, only record in B-RAW. And honestly, it's a superior codec. I'm really not that concerned about the fact that it no longer has ProRes. If a client needs ProRes, I can record an external monitor, I can kick it out in post and hand them a file, whatever they need. But the ability to record in camera in 12-bit RAW and data rates that absolutely match ProRes is a huge win. I don't know how they did it. Maybe it's just because ProRes is a 20-year-old codec, or maybe it's because Blackmagic has some really great developers on their team. Again, 12-bit isn't 2 points more. It's not 20% more color. It's 4 times the color because of how that number relates to color depth. If you come back and check out this channel, there's an entire other video I'm doing on bit depth and what these numbers mean and why they're important to you in your editing and color workflow. Okay, so final thoughts. Is the Pyxis 12K worth it? Should you buy it over a Pyxis 6K? Should you buy it over an Ursa Cine 12K? And the answer is, it depends on you, your budget, and your workflow. I would say that if your concern is 12K file size only, buy it. Honestly, it's a superior image to even the 4.6K, which was, in my opinion, their previous best look. I think that the ability to shoot 4K or 8K or 12K all without cropping means you can match your workflow to whatever data pipeline you're dealing with in post. And it's worth pointing out that lenses are just getting faster and faster, that lighting companies are making better and better, brighter and brighter lights for cheaper and cheaper. I mean, Aperture just came out with a 5,000 watt point source light, which is a totally crazy amount of light to get out of an LED. Pretty much whatever light you want based on whatever circuit you're working with, you can get in an LED. And on the more discount affordable prosumer to consumer lighting, you can get decent full color RGB plus bicolor lights for as low as $1 a watt. It's kind of crazy how affordable getting a lot of decent to good quality light has gotten. So if you're worried about whether or not your ISO can go high enough, I would say light your scene. And so that you can master some of the techniques that I'm referring to when it comes to filmmaking and using these tools with the greatest effect in your filmmaking career, check out the other videos I have on this channel. If there's anything that's missing, anything you want in particular to see that hasn't been made yet, please leave a comment below. I will take the time to respond to absolutely everyone that I can. Now, if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, give it a share, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell or whatever it is that tells you when I post new stuff online. And in the meantime, while we all wait for Blackmagic to start shipping the Pyxis 12K, I'm going to take my Pyxis 6K back out and keep shooting. So I'll catch you guys next time.